My jungle will lure you in, with paths that are deceptively apparent and secrets that will never be uncovered. Silver starlight may show you the way, shape-shifting shadows will lead you astray. So open your eyes, I shall show you a world etched deep in my mind and free from your kind. Only the greatest explorers of the unknown, those who are willing to lose themselves, can unravel the enigma. For the essence of the jungle lies not in being found, but in getting lost. Welcome to Thorn's Jungle. How's it going, everyone? Thanks for taking a step into Thorn's Jungle. In fact, this episode isn't actually set on land. It's an oceanic jungle, which there are kind of underwater jungles. Get them big kelp forests and, massive giant reefs. It's kind of the ocean's equivalent of a jungle. People always ask me, what is a jungle? A jungle's just basically a bit of, an environment that's hard to penetrate or impossible to penetrate, that's thick with plant growth, pretty much. I guess you can apply that to marine stuff too. And this topic's been on my mind for ages because it pisses me off so much. And especially being in Australia, in Western Australia, which has taken the title for the shark attack sort of capital of the world. Australia's Western Australia, I'm from Perth, which is in Western Australia, has more shark attacks than anywhere else on the planet, and fatal ones as well, I believe. But the thing is, that may sound daunting and shit, we need to stay away from Australia, but that number's still incredibly low, especially when you compare it to other stuff. And in Australia, in Broome on Cable Beach, we've had 2 shark attacks that were weeks apart, only a couple of weeks apart. One was fatal, the other one was like the guy's board got hit and there were teeth marks on the board. And that was a bull shark. Bull sharks are responsible for a lot of shark attacks and shark fatalities. But we're going to take a look at sort of what are the main sharks that are responsible for the most fatal attacks, and also the absolute bullshit around Australia's idea of culling sharks because of these attacks, and the methods they sort of put in place to prevent shark attacks and to also catch this is quote unquote killer shark or rogue shark, which, looking at it's honestly the most stupid thing that humans do. It is just, to me, and I mean, there's a lot of stupid things humans do when regarding the environment and animals, but this is like top 5 for me, and that is people, when they go into the ocean, getting attacked by a shark, and then us humans killing the sharks. That is just the most dumbest shit I could ever think of that humans can do with animals. Let's kill the sharks so it's safer for us idiots to go swimming in the shark's house. I mean, when the sharks start coming on land and attacking people, yeah, let's fight back and cull them. But they're not fucking street sharks. They're not hiding behind dumpsters, mobbing people in alleyways with knuckle dusters and rollerblades and stuff like that. So we're going into their territory. Surely, as a human being, you know the risks. We're not meant to be aquatic, Go for a swim, yeah, but it's at your own risk. You got to be aware of that. And what most people don't know is when you go into the ocean, you're swimming with sharks. Like, there are sharks around you in the proximity for sure. And that could range from anywhere like a Port Jackson shark, which is like kind of like a horn shark you get in the US. It's a very benign, harmless shark, all the way through to, big pelagic sharks, great whites and things like that. So you're always swimming with sharks, and there are nearly 500 species of shark. And of that 500 species, I think it's about 489, 490 species. Let's just say 500 to make it easier. Because, hey, let's face it, we're always discovering new species. So let's just leave that, 10 to be discovered. But of those 500, only 12 can really cause harm to a human. And the main sharks that are responsible for fatal attacks come down to, obviously, the great white shark, Carcharodon carcharias, which is like the biggest apex predator shark. And I don't think any other shark strikes fear into humans more than the great white. And you can basically thank the movie Jaws for that. I mean, I love the movie Jaws, I really do, but no movie has done more damage to sharks than Jaws. And no movie's done more damage to Universal Studios than Jaws 3. Jesus Christ, that was... Watch that movie. Oh my God. Oh, why bother? I swear they drew that shark into those scenes. It was so bad. Dennis Quaid, what were you thinking? Anyway, so we got the great white, and before that, it was widely believed that the bull shark was more responsible for fatal attacks than the great white, but the great white's definitely overtaken that if it wasn't already higher above on that list. And the thing with the bull shark is they're not a huge shark. They're a requiem shark, so they're like a whaler. They're related to tiger sharks and things like that. And the thing with bull sharks is they sort of hang around and live where humans like to swim. So estuaries and the mouths of rivers and things like that, because bull sharks have this amazing adaptation where they can basically live their entire life in fresh water. It's awesome. It's crazy, but they sort of seek out more fresh or brackish water to give birth to their pups, which is their young, and they can be a bit safer in the more fresh water because they know other sharks ain't going to come in there and eat them. And then, so you will get large females hanging around those river mouths, and people love to swim there, and that's where they get hit. And bull sharks, they grow to 12 feet. They get not huge, but they are so stocky and robust. They're like the bodybuilders of the shark world. And studies show that the testosterone surging through those sharks is out of control. So we've got the great white and the bull shark. And then the tiger shark, which is a huge shark. It can rival the great white in length. You're looking at something that can get 20 feet, maybe even more. And tiger sharks, sort of like the great white, are pretty widely distributed around our oceans. They're found all throughout like tropical waters and even cold water. We get them here off Perth, and Perth is quite cold water. And I mean, tiger sharks will eat anything. And I mean anything. They've got a nickname which is the garbage can of the ocean, because the stuff that has been cut out of those sharks is like, why the hell would it eat that? Like, they found suits of armor, they found shopping trolleys, you name it, they found it in a tiger shark. They just inhale anything, and that includes a human. And fourth on the list that's responsible for, probably by number, the most attacks, just because the circumstances of these attacks, is the oceanic whitetip. The oceanic whitetip it's just a reef shark, but like it's a pelagic shark, but they mainly attack people that are castaways, or like when there's a shipwreck, that have been floating around in the ocean. So just by sheer numbers and statistics, the oceanic whitetips probably killed the most people, because you will get like a ship will sink, whether it's a military ship or just unfortunate boatmen. So there'll be like 80 people bobbing around in the water, and the oceanic whitetips will come in and just thank you very much. That's all 80 of you gone. So that's like a decade or more of fatal shark attacks in just sort of one attack. So they don't really add those situations to the statistics, because oceanic whitetips don't really cruise up and down the coast, and they don't really swim where humans swim. They're quite deep water animals, and just by circumstance, they swallow a bunch of seamen. Eat a bunch of boatmen. Oh God, sorry about that. I had to do it. So, how many people are killed by sharks each year? The number is about 5 on average. 5 people are killed each year by sharks. And just to put that into perspective, you're more likely to die driving to the beach than you are of a shark attack. 150 people each year are killed by coconuts falling from trees and hitting them on the head. So let's cull some coconuts, eh? Let's give them a thrashing. You're more likely to be killed by a vending machine falling on you than a shark. You're more likely to be killed by your pet dog than a shark. You're more likely to be killed falling into your dishwasher than a shark. Horses, cows kill way more people than sharks do. So, like, 5 people a year, that is just a freak occurrence. That is such a rarity that you will be killed by a shark. Where it's like, I don't even see it as worth panic about. No way. Obviously 5 people's lives are lost. That's absolutely tragic. I'm not denying that. It's a tragedy. But humans kill over 100 million sharks a year, and that's basically just for their fins alone. So 100 million sharks are killed each year. Sometimes the shark takes someone back. Nowhere near the numbers like we're taking sharks, but 5 times a year, the ocean will reclaim something. And the anger that people feel when there's a shark attack, we need to kill him. It's just, I can't believe the stupidity of these people. And hopefully, if you're one of those people, I hope you listen to this podcast and it changes your mind. Because you're not going to walk through the Serengeti in Africa and, a lion attacks you and all of a sudden you kill all the lions. That's just stupid. You know where you are. And I'll tell you a story, actually. This happened a month or 2 ago. My grandma, my nan, called me to come get a snake from her street. It's like a dugong, which is a venomous snake. And so I live on the same street as her, so she was just down the road. And my house backs onto like a golf course and resort, and there's bushland and things like that. So snakes are, quite regularly seen in our street. I come grab this snake and then take it down the road and then let it go back into the bush where it came from, just down the end of the street. Next minute, this dude comes marching up to me, going, he was like a Pommy, like an Englishman, and he was like, "Who the fucking idiot that let go of that fucking snake?" And I was like, "Yeah, He's like, why didn't you fucking kill it? I'm like, well, it's illegal for one, and two, why would I? That's where it lives. And he's like, you're a fucking idiot, man. You're a fucking idiot. Why didn't you fucking kill it? So it starts getting a bit heated, and we're exchanging words, a lot of curse words. Like, we're going at it in the street, right in front of my grandparents, and people are coming out their houses to see what's going on. It nearly came to blows. But, he's like, you fucking dickhead, man. You're a fucking dickhead. And I'm giving it back to him as well. And so he leaves and walks down. And then I just thought, what an absolute moron. This guy has moved to Australia, right? From the UK. He's moved to Australia into a house that backs onto a bushland, and he's got no fences. Because he was like, that snake is going to come back into my house and bite my dog or me. And I'm like, well, how many people have been bitten by a snake in this street? Or how many dogs? None. So fuck off, mate. So he's moved to Australia into a house that's opposite of, right, like I'm talking 10 feet. His backyard is a bush, and he's got no fence around it. And then he gets angry that he's seeing snakes. Do you have any idea the stupidity of that? Like, where the fuck do you think you are? You're in Australia, which is renowned for having these animals. And you move to a house that's in a bush that has no fence. I mean, come on. What the hell did you expect? And then you get mad when you start seeing native fauna hanging around. Jesus Christ. So that's kind of in the same vein as these shark attacks and people getting angry that, oh, there's sharks everywhere, we're getting bitten. It's like, don't go in the fucking ocean then. Like, simple, eliminate the risk. And that is you going into the ocean. Not eliminate the sharks. It's just the dumbest thing. Like, that's the arrogance of man. Like, plain and simple. Just arrogance and stupidity and ignorance. Like, and so what we do in Australia, if there's shark attacks, and they tested it out for one summer as well. They do like baited hooks. So they have these giant hooks with bait on them that catches the sharks, and then the sharks are destroyed. So they put these baited drum lines, so the hooks are floating on a drum. They put them off the coast around like popular swimming beaches, and any shark that gets caught on that is killed. If it hasn't already died, just hanging there. If not, they shoot it. And the problem with this is, like, because you're baiting a beach, you're now drawing in sharks that may not have even been interested. So you're now drawing them in closer to the beach. And it's not just like great whites that can cause potentially fatal injuries. These are a whole range of sharks that are completely harmless to humans. And now you've got a dead shark hanging off this hook that is just drawing in these bigger sharks. And it's dumb as all hell. It's just absolute nonsense. And I think even a dolphin fucking got caught on one. So there's that. And then there's, like they'll do shark nets around the popular beaches so sharks can't get in. Now, what happens here is it catches a lot of other animals, marine animals, like dolphins and fish, things like that. The net size is just the right size for one of them to get caught. And then what happens? It brings sharks in. And it was funny, last year we got a beach, it's probably 10 minutes from me, that's got shark nets. And then there's these reports, like it's a small beach. And then there's these reports coming out that there's been a shark spotted inside the net. So now a shark's gone inside the net. It's a bronze whaler, which do have potential to bite people. I mean, every shark has potential to bite people, but there have been bites from bronze whalers, like unprovoked ones. And now this shark can't get out of this beach because now it's trapped itself in. Like, what happens is the tide swells and they just get sort of washed over the net, or like, you know, something comes loose at the bottom and they can go under. So that's just incarcerated this shark into this beach where people swim. Like, normally it would have just left. But yeah, dumb as all hell. And then you got people with like trawler nets that are got these massive nets out that entangle whales and other cetaceans like dolphins and porpoise. What does that do? That attracts sharks. So they're the lengths that they're going to reduce the shark attacks, it's basically not doing a thing, if not more damage than good. It's ridiculous. Now, if you hear this big noise in the background, that's our garbage truck emptying some bins. And of course, as soon as I start doing the podcast, it has to fucking rock up. It normally doesn't come to a bit later, like hours from now, but nah, as soon as I start recording a podcast, here it is. And the dogs will start going ape shit. I tell you what, fucking hell. Now I'm all hyped up and agitated from talking about these morons culling these sharks. And the funny thing is, we get all these articles. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to pause it and wait for this fucking machine to go past. Alright, it's gone past, but of course I live in a cul-de-sac, so it'll be doing a loop down the bottom of the street and coming straight back. So yeah. As well, like, I don't know where I was up to, but after there's a shark attack, the fisheries department and stuff will go out looking for the sharks. That this arbitrary, asinine idea that that the shark they kill is gonna be the exact one that caused the attack. Like, the chance of that shark still being in the area is remote. I mean, they have caught sharks and found human remains in them, but like, they probably killed like 10 sharks before they got to that one. And great whites are a vulnerable species, and they're protected in Australian waters. So, you know, they're protected, then the fisheries department goes out and kills a bunch of them because they attacked someone. And I've got a feeling that the fisheries department don't want to kill the shark. It's just basically to keep all the, you know, water goers happy. Even though it's very rare that I will talk to somebody that kind of supports the culling. The people that do support the culling of the sharks are like abalone divers, surfers, spear fishermen, things like that. But every time there's a fatal attack, you always hear the family on the news and they're always like, we don't want the shark killed, that's not what he would have wanted. But then I see news articles on like Facebook and the comments, oh fuck, I have to like restrain myself from going at these people, because they're like, and people say that the sharks are endangered and there's fewer in the water, then why are we seeing more of them and why are we getting more attacks? Well, the actual fact of the matter is, worldwide, the attacks are getting less and less. So that's complete bullshit. There aren't more attacks. So you can nip that in the bud right now. There aren't more attacks. And also, why are we seeing more of them? Just because you're seeing more of them doesn't necessarily mean there are more than them. There are more of them, sorry. So the way I've kind of like explain it is, the rate that the fish stock in the ocean is diminishing, right? And when that happens, obviously the sea lion populations and the higher order animals that prey on those fish, etc., start becoming less and less. So the sharks are looking for new feeding grounds, and if that means they have to come closer to our beaches to find that prey, then it makes sense that you're seeing more of them. If you think about it, in your neighborhood, if all the food places where you could buy food were now cut off to you and closed, and there was like one or two places that were selling food still open, you will find a massive increase of people at that shop trying to buy food, right? Doesn't mean there's more people in the world, just means more people are in that area. So that's the way I see it. And there's no evidence that great white populations are increasing. There isn't. And frankly, I can't see how they would. And you also get fishermen going, yeah, the bloody sharks are taking our fucking fish off our hooks when we're trying to catch them, etc., etc. They're biting holes in our nets and stuff like that. It's like, well, guess what, mate? If there wasn't these sharks, you wouldn't be catching dick. You would be catching fuck all in those nets. Because what happens? When you don't have those higher order predators eating the sea lions, eating like the bigger fish so when you take them away, then what? Like, when you take away sharks, you've got a massive influx of sea lions that are now all eating the fish that you're trying to catch, right? So then those fish's numbers drop. It's all a chain reaction. So if there was not top order predators like sharks, guess what? The whole ecosystem crashes. You know, it's like when you don't have wolves and bears and mountain lions, all of a sudden the deer population explodes and they start, eating all the grassland, and eventually they start starving to death. So guess what, mate? Fisherman mate. If there wasn't sharks, you'd be out of a job. So stop whinging about that. Man, this subject gets me so pissed off. Because it's just the ignorance of people. And it is such an easy solve. Rather than going out and taking even more sharks out of the ocean, if you don't want to get eaten by a shark, don't go in where the shark lives. Fucking simple. It's not bloody rocket science. I want to kill all the sharks so I can go for a surf. Fuck off. Like, if you're a surfer or an abalone diver or anything like that, you know there's sharks in the water and you still choose to go and do it. That's your choice, nobody else's. And the fact that 9 times out of 10, these sharks don't want to eat you. They don't eat people. People are gross, bony fucking things. Unless you're like, you weigh half a ton of fat and blubber, which there are people out there, but they're most likely not in the ocean. They're most likely bedridden, and they have to remove a wall just to get them out. Unless you're one of them, a shark doesn't really want anything to do with you. They're not going to get a lot of meat off you. Here comes that truck again. Might be right, I'm just going to keep talking. They're not going to get a lot of meat off you. So they would be rather munching on a big whale carcass, chomping on a big 300 kilo sea lion or something like that that's, real fatty, not some bony ass human. So most of the attacks, and this is an interesting fact, most shark attacks happen within like 20 feet from the shore and less than 5 feet of water. So it's very shallow. We had a massive shark attack, a decade or so, maybe 15, 20 years ago actually, off Cottesloe Beach here. And the dude was in waist deep water and he got bitten by a big ass shark. It was a big great white. It was like 5 meters. So, 16, 17 foot. And it halved him. It bit him basically in half and killed him. But it was such shallow water. And the reason why that is because sharks don't need to see you to know you're there and to find you. And if they're coming in shallow water looking for food, shallow water is normally murky water. So they know you're there. They know there's a potential meal there. And if they can't see you and go, okay, that's not a seal, then they come up. And most come up to investigate. And most shark bites are exploratory bites. Just inquiries to see if you're worth a meal. And I'm sorry, but if that's a 15-foot great white inquiring on your leg, even just a little bite is going to do a shitload of damage. Considering they can take a chunk of flesh 150 pounds, that's your entire leg or half your body gone just in that exploratory bite. So unfortunately, that little investigation of theirs, having a nibble on a human does a lot of damage. And I'm not saying that sharks don't prey on humans. They have completely consumed humans, but it's not their preferred meal. And if they can't see what you are, then they're going to come in and just have a go, have a bite. Also, surfers, when they're paddling on their surfboard, from underneath look very similar to a sea lion for a great white shark. And great white sharks often will ambush from underneath you and sort of come up from the bottom and hit you. And that's just a case of mistaken identity. I mean, 9 times out of 10, every shark bite or attack, fatal or non-fatal, is a case of mistaken identity. Also, a surfer on a board can look like a loggerhead turtle, and tiger sharks prey on turtles, look like a loggerhead or a green sea turtle, sort of any turtle really. And tiger sharks, it's a big part of their diet are sea turtles, and a human looks like one from underneath. So the reason why they attack isn't out of malice or full aggression. It doesn't know what the fuck you are, so it's coming in to have a look. And then you get the surfers that are wearing like these dark coloured wetsuits, and what do you know? They're the same colour as a bloody sea lion. Awesome. So, and there is scientific proof that the what are they called? Like the shark repellents and the electronic things that they can strap can deter sharks, and it does happen. But sharks use their senses. It's called the ampullae of Lorenzini. If you look at a shark, you'll see all these black dots on their snout. That picks up sort of electromagnetic pulses and currents that every living thing emits. And when these shark deterrents kind of set out a frequency, I guess, that the sharks don't necessarily like or they're not familiar with, so they kind of read it as, you're not prey. So they have been proven to work, but, obviously not 100%. And it's one of those things where shark attacks are so rare where it's not really something you can study. Because it's like, this guy goes out all day, every day, all day, and doesn't get attacked because he's got the shark repellent. Like, well, you could live 100 lifetimes over going out every day, all day, and not get attacked by a shark. So, it's just one of those things. Like, don't get so stressed out about shark attacks because the chances are it's not going to happen, for one. And secondly, just don't go in the water if you don't even want to risk it. And be smart with when you go in the water. So like early morning, dusk and dawn, probably not a good idea. When the water's murky, probably not a good idea. People can open swim with great whites. And I've seen it happen. Without a shark cage, they can swim with great whites next to them. I mean, I'm not recommending it, but because the water's clear, the sharks know that you're not prey. It doesn't want to eat you. So it just leaves you the hell alone. You're just another big fish swimming next to it. And great whites, you see those sucker fish, they're called remoras. They basically stick to, most sharks have them hanging around them. And they just sort of eat scraps that come off the shark and, dead skin and whatnot off the shark. But some of them remoras get pretty big. The sharks just leave them alone. They don't give a shit about them. So they just think you're another scavenger hanging around. They don't really bother with you. And as well, you've got scuba tanks on. You've got all this metal crap hanging off you that frankly the shark don't want to eat. Unless it's a tiger shark, then that's a meal. But don't buy into this fucking cull of sharks bullshit, because honestly, it's not worth, and I mean, I say it's not worth being concerned about, but to the families that have lost somebody to a shark attack, obviously it does make a difference, and that is absolutely tragic. So I do show a lot of, I'm really sorry that had to happen, because as well, being such a freak thing, it's like, why did it happen to him? It's such a rare occurrence, Why did it happen to him? Why did it happen to her? So I do have, I do feel a lot for the families of the people that have lost, a loved one from a shark attack. But should we be concerned about shark numbers growing and shark attacks? No, not at all. Not even in the slightest. Watch out for your dog. It'll get you more than a shark would. Sharks have been on this planet for like 440 million years, and they've remained virtually unchanged. And that's basically because they haven't had to. They're a marvel of evolution, like a machine that just don't fix what isn't broken. And this machine, this marvel of evolution, is good at killing stuff. It's good at hunting, and it's had nearly 500 million years to do so. So don't be surprised if you do get attacked, but just be surprised of how damn unlucky you are to be attacked, because the odds are so ridiculous that you're probably 100 times more likely to win the lottery, than to be attacked by a shark. Okay, rant over. It's glad I got off my chest, because people just don't know the facts, and that's not really their fault. They just see on the news a shark attack, and because every shark attack's going to make it on the news because it's such a big deal. But why does every shark attack make it on the news? Because it's such a freak thing, and it's such a damn terrifying thing. This gigantic fish that has attacked a human being. And there's nothing more scary than something coming up from the depths of the ocean with giant teeth, and taking a bite out of somebody. That's terrifying, so of course it'll make the news. But, if every car accident made the news, and I think there's 60,000 motor vehicle deaths a year, or 100,000 a year. If every one of them made the news, you wouldn't want to get back in your car, would you? So eliminate the risk, and the risk isn't the sharks, it's people getting in the water. And if we want to eliminate the risk, then eliminate people, because they're wiping out sharks just for a stupid ass fucking soup that has no flavor to it. Shark fins are flavorless. They flavor it with this chicken broth, and it's like a status symbol, eating this shark fin soup. And it's one of the main things as to why sharks are becoming threatened, because of a fucking soup. Pull your heads out your ass. Pour that shit in the bin. Okay. Alright, I think I'm done ranting. And then something will come past me and I'll be like, no, wait a minute. I've got to fucking yell at someone again about that. Alright, I think I'm done. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope if you did feel some resentment to sharks, and you've kind of been educated a bit, because with ignorance, a lot of the times when people just lack the education on the subject, and they haven't learned and they haven't done research. So hopefully this has enlightened a few people, and yeah, go sharks. Just warning to all them street sharks out there, stay off our turf. That's our turf. The water's yours. Cheers, guys.